Perfect. Great start.
Hey guys, Brian here, E-Factor Outdoors. Today we're gonna build some bank poles using 10-foot fiberglass rods. They're 1/2 inch, and I got them from a guy that buys them in bulk. You can find these. They come with a tapered end right here. I spray painted about 1.5 foot up and then about 2.5 foot up, just as indicators. Last night we were covering up that first mark with into the bank, but not the second mark. So we're getting somewhere in between here, but that way you know how far it is. Then these are called hog rings. They're for castrating hogs. They fit perfectly on these bank poles right here to hold the hooks. And I've done 2 reflectors, one here and one here. And they're sticky reflectors, but they're old, so the adhesion probably was worn off a little bit. So I went ahead and wrapped them in zip ties, but that actually is something I'm recommending also, which I'll tell you about in just a second. So anyway, 2 reflectors. Oh, the reason for 2 reflectors is these poles have so much flex to them that this reflector could very well be under the water with a big catfish. So I still want to be able to see the pole. Speaking of all the flex they have to them, though, that's a good thing, because that means it's going to be like, as the catfish tries to swim away, it's going to slowly bend that pole and slowly build the force to stop him, versus the opposite of that would be if you had no flex and you just had it rope tied onto a stump. The fish would go and get stopped really quick and rip the hook out of his lip. So I think these help with that. Okay, so as far as attaching the line to the end, this is a 1/2 inch piece of PEX tubing that the inside diameter is perfect. Like, it fits tight around the edge. And I used some Gorilla epoxy, and I've got some pieces on the end. I'd go ahead, and I didn't go all the way. I'd go ahead and flush up the fiberglass with the end of this next time, because we are hammering on some of these, and it was moving the PEX. So I'll go ahead and do that. So closer. Anyhow, then tie your line around the pole, and basically that's keeping the line from being able to slide off. So these poles have a spine to them. So you see how it's like flexed like this? If I try to roll it up this way, it's just it'll naturally flop one way. So there's like a stiff side and a weak side of these. So when they're in the water, I want it to bend how it would naturally bend. And so we're gonna try to put them into the bank, so they're already bent like this a little bit, versus put them in the bank and they're up. I don't know, I think that'll just help the poles last longer. So we rotated the zip ties so that the pointy end of the zip tie is facing up. So when we're setting the poles, we'll make sure these pointy zip ties are pointing up when we put them in there. You could also just put some paint on the top of the pole or whatever you want to do there. I've tied off enough line to where it reaches this 2.5 foot mark on the pole. And now we're gonna tie on a swivel. And I'll put links in the description below to all these things so you guys can see exactly what I'm using. But these are probably like 500-pound swivels. Just ridiculous overkill, but hey, when you get that big fish, why would you not use stronger stuff? We had to drill out sinkers so they fit on this trot line. And this is number 36 tarred trot line. So slide a sinker on there, which actually I'm gonna make sure the holes are nice and deburred so that we don't cut our line. 3-ounce sinkers. I feel like that's a good weight. So we got that. Then we tie our swivel on. Tie it with your favorite knot. It's probably hard to show knot tying on here. Whatever knots you like using, just use it. But these are barrel swivels. And the reason that you need a swivel is because those fish will, they'll spin and barrel roll when they, I guess when they get panicked or they're trying to get away. And they can twist your line up or untwist it and fray it and stuff like that. So next we're gonna make our little leader with the hook and tie that onto there. Then we'll be done. It's about 15 inches. And these are the hooks that I'm using. I'll put links in the description below. There's actually, we have a favorite flathead hook and we have a favorite channel hook. These are, I like circle hooks for channels. I seem to get the best hookups with big circle hooks. These are 10-aught. And same with the hooks for flatheads, but the hooks for flatheads are just like giant J hooks. Use whatever hooks you like and is your favorite.
My suggestion is just make sure you use heavy enough equipment.
Yeah. You might think it's overkill and it's not. I mean, that hook's freaking giant, but it works. And seems like, you know, using your chicken bait or chicken liver, shrimp, worms, and you're catching like 1 to 5 pound channel cats. At least this is my experience. Very rarely or seldom you'll catch a bigger one, which is fine. Man, you use live bait on bank poles and you use this big equipment and I mean, if you catch like 10 pounders are the kind of the smaller side of things generally. So you just never know what you're gonna catch. And there you have it. Now watch how easy this, oh, by the way, when you get it into the bank, however deep you want to set it, if you want it to go shallower, don't get fancy, just wrap it around. Just do that. And when you're done, when you're putting the pole up for the night, or the morning, whatever, watch how easy. So grab that hook and stretch the line tight and just roll the hog ring right over the hook, and then you can kind of push on it and stretch it out even further, and it just keeps the line, even with this big sinker, it keeps it real straight, and then you're ready to go. But yeah, these are awesome. We're gonna switch over. So I'm switching over from PVC to this stuff for sure. I'll put links in the descriptions below where you can buy the fiberglass rod, but it's gonna be expensive probably in my links. The best bet, honestly, find somebody that's bought these in bulk and are selling them. But if you just wanna make a couple of them and spending a little bit extra money doesn't bother you, then I'll definitely put a link in the description below, as well as to every component here. For me, I paid $5 a pole, so and then about $5 in components. So I've got about $10 per pole here. So well worth it. We got to try them out last night and they're amazing. I'll probably get rid of all my PVC bank poles and switch to these fiberglass poles. They go into the bank easier. They're longer, so they reach out and your bait's out, you're further away from the water or the bank, so you're not tangling up in roots. They're easier, they're tangle free when you get them in the boat, more manageable.
This is definitely the best design we've fished with so far. This is our first trip out, and we've got 4 in the water right now, and definitely the best design we've come up with.